One Piece manga chapter 920. Now we finally have a direction with where we're going with Wano, because beforehand we weren't exactly sure how this was going to play out. The beginning chapter of Wano was sort of leading us towards Jack finding out about the Straw Hats, and that's where I assumed we're going to get the first fight against one of the calamities of Kaido's crew. But with this chapter, we actually know where we're going with this, and it's definitely hype. This was an amazing chapter because my initial reaction to this chapter was like, holy shit, Wano is taking off quickly and things are escalating to the nitty-gritty of this arc. So I'm definitely hyped. If there's anything Oda is famous for, it's hype. Oda is the king of hype for a reason. We get so much build up to what may seem boring to a lot of people, but once that build up is realized, then we get this crazy reveals that is extremely satisfying in the best possible way. Oda never fails. Now we got a lot of information about Oda in this chapter, which was great. We found out what type of person he was, and one of the big issues people were having with the last chapter was time travel. And in this chapter, people shouldn't really have any problems with it anymore. I mean, this is a show about pirates having devil fruits that grants them the powers of the elements, ancient technology that can destroy the world, an actual pirate crew in space. I didn't think time travel would be a problem fitting into the narrative of One Piece. If anything, it fits perfectly, but I do understand why people didn't want time travel because of the problems it could bring into the story. Time paradoxes, alternate timelines, and this in result could mess up the story for the worse because of plot holes and things like that. Now this is something we don't have to worry about anymore because Oda put limitations on the time travel that was used to get Kinemon, Momo, and everyone 20 years into the future. So having things like time paradoxes have been kicked out of the equation because this only allows them to travel into the future and not the past. And this seems to be a one-time thing anyways, but I wouldn't be surprised if Oda brought it back again because we did have some information about the person that was using the time travel, which I will talk more in detail later in this video. But let's start from the beginning of this chapter. Now on the cover page, I think we're back to fan requesting Oda to draw fanfic stuff, which I'm not even mad about because we got a lot of information about the Straw Hat Grand Fleet and what they were currently doing towards the middle late portion of Whole Cake through the Reverie to the beginning of Wano, and that was a lot of information, so I'm cool with the fanfics for the time being. And on the cover page, we have the typical Zoro and Sanji rivalry going on here, something that Oda is probably going to keep doing till the end of series, but it would be crazy if we actually get some real stuff with Sanji and Zoro in the story, since there's this sense of rivalry between them, maybe later on in the story. But it seems like Oda may be focusing more on Luffy, the captain, and the crew members of the Straw Hats, rather than just crew members versus crew members, because we had Luffy and Usopp, we had Luffy and Sanji recently in Whole Cake arc, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get Luffy and Zoro very soon. Now on to the actual chapter. Now we learned that Oden was actually the son of the previous shogun and was said to be extremely violent, even though he was technically a noble in Wano, and this is why he got exiled into Kuri, and it's making a lot more sense as to why he's so liked by the people of Kuri, because he was essentially the hero of Kuri, which is a lot different from what we heard from the kids in the last chapter. Now Kuri was said to be this lawless place where all the Ronins and criminals were sent to, and so people getting killed was pretty much a regular day for the average citizen at that point. Oden was the individual who saved them from that by defeating the strongest person there at that point in time and changed Kuri for the better, which he was then rewarded with the position of the daimyo of Kuri, and this eventually ties in with him meeting Roger, Whitebeard, Inuarashi, and Nekomamushi, which was a great portion of this chapter. So I feel like the backstory was fully fleshed out because we pretty much have the full story, whereas in Zou we got some information about how Oden was executed, but it was still kind of vague. Again, if you go over Zou again, it really ties in with what Kinemon is saying and as to why Momo said he met Roger. Now we also learned that it was Oden's wife who had the ability of the time fruit. Now initially I didn't think it was a devil fruit because I felt like that would be too overpowered in One Piece. Then again, we have Kizaru in the story who is light, so it only makes sense that Oda would put some limitation on the time fruit, enough to make it not overpowered as he does with other Hacks devil fruits. And so the limitations of the time fruit she had was that she couldn't use it to go back in the past, which I mentioned should stop any problems people had with time travel, because going back into the past things can get messed up, but going into the future doesn't really have any repercussions. Now there's two things to note when it comes to Oden's wife. First of all, it's very likely that she's from a very ancient time because she's been using her devil fruit ability to travel further in time. First thing that comes to mind is like the Void Century stuff or something close to that, and this could also tie into Momonosuke and Zunisha because we know Momo can hear the voice of all things, but he can also command Zunisha. And we also know that Zunisha was punished for a crime and was ordered to walk the sea for an eternity. So it only makes sense that Momonosuke is related to those people. Now we know Momonosuke actually has a sister that a lot of people think could be Otama, which could be plausible. I don't know, but Oden's wife seems to favor Momonosuke over her because Momo seems to be like the chosen child, because not only does he have the voice of all things, he can also control Zunisha. So I'm starting to think that Zunisha could come into play in Wano with the whole Minks there. That's a possibility I can see happening. So this could eventually tie into the poneglyphs and some void century stuff, to be honest. So that's gonna be great if we actually get some lore with all of this action. And the second thing about Oden's wife is that now that she's dead, her ability has probably reanimated somewhere else in the world. Now this is big because this is a very powerful devil fruit, and given the fact that she died 20 years ago means that this fruit has been around for at least 20 years somewhere. And so I wouldn't be surprised if someone currently has that devil fruit ability. Maybe the lurking legend, who knows. And just looking back on how we met Kinemon and Momo in Punk Hazard, it's crazy what these guys have been through, because for some reason every island they drifted to had at least one person that was affiliated with Kaido. So it was always action time for them with no form of rest. So it's pretty harsh for them. You can actually feel for Kinemon in this chapter. And we finally get the reveal for what their alliance is going for. Now in 2 weeks time they're gonna raid the island of Onigashima where Kaido stays. Now this last panel was just straight up greatness. I actually got chills from this because you had everyone turn on their game face, because this is not a joke. Now I'm not sure if all the calamities are going to be there, but their plan is to defeat, I guess, all the commanders of Kaido's crew. It seems like Kaido was going to be first before going for the Shogun, but more than likely it's not going to go exactly as planned, which is going to spice things up a little bit more. Now notice how Kinemon said that the raid is happening on the night of the Fire Festival. You guys already know what that means. We're probably going to get every single Mink go Sulong form, which is going to be an amazing panel just thinking about it, and this is going to be a huge trump card for the alliance. And we actually got to see a silhouette of what may be the other calamities. We can clearly see Jack all the way to the left. There's the guy in the middle, which I think we all have the assumption that's going to be King, and there's someone else all the way to the left, but you can't really see him that much. Now the theory about them being named King and Queen might not necessarily be true, but they're definitely going to be named after cards because Oda is big on themes when it comes to Yonko and their crews. But these guys, based on their silhouette, look pretty cool, especially the guy in the middle. And I think based on this, I don't think Jack is the right hand anymore, because when you look at the silhouette, Jack is not the middle guy. So whoever the middle guy is, that's probably the right hand of Kaido or the strongest calamity. And these guys are probably rocking ancient to mythical zone devil fruits. But that's gonna be cool moving forward. We also have Zoro kind of wandering on his own, and the funny thing is that he blames the Straw Hat for getting lost. So he's obviously oblivious to the fact that he got lost, but it seems like Oda is using Zoro's gag to leeway to some sort of other plot line in Wano. Again, Wano is a place that we think that Zoro could have some connections to. Maybe he encounters more of the Beast Pirates, or maybe he encounters another Supernova. We'll see how that pans out. But yeah, this chapter for me was a 10 out of 10 because not only did we get what the Straw Hats were going for and the plan to take on the calamities and Kaido, but we also got information about Oden's backstory, which really tied in well with what was said beforehand. And when it comes to the time traveling aspect, I don't think it's going to be an issue moving forward, but this chapter was really insane. The build up being realized was great, but we are on break next week, which kind of sucks, but I'm glad this is the chapter we left off. And I'm expecting a lot of videos from the community because we actually have a lot of stuff to talk about, because beforehand we didn't really have that much to talk about, but now we can actually talk about some things. So I'm probably going to be working on a couple of videos later on this week, but that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Comment down below what you guys think about this One Piece chapter. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe for more One Piece content on this channel. It is Pharaoh, and I will see you folks later. Peace.